Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's AMA. Got some interesting things to discuss with you from the core update side and also from the business side. And of course, we have Marvin and Diego here to discuss what's going on with the big ecosystem projects in the Cherry ecosystem. Herman is here, so I'll hand you over to him and he'll proceed with the big updates as to what's going on at the moment with the devs.
Yes. Hey, guys. I'll keep this quick. I'm actually in the middle of two meetings. Hopefully, we'll have something to share about these within the next few AMAs. So I'll keep this brief. We have worked on, I think since last AMA, we fixed a few issues, particularly in respect to people that sent tokens to validators. These were since returned. We're within this effort trying to provide better indexing and explorer features to provide introspection into our data structure and blockchain. And this simply means that we are working on both automated means on our end, but also on a more a simple way to navigate the block state aside from trade-off plays. And this will ultimately culminate into a Explorer. I think it should be out sometime this week. I don't think there's anything else to discuss about that. You can just look at it once it's out. In other news, EVM, the same issue. So we spent 2 weeks, up until last week, readjusting infrastructure. I think I mentioned that at last AMA. We've since resumed our deployment and testing. Aside from the infrastructure question, the question of consensus, in particular the assignment of Ethereum keys to substrate keys in a deterministic fashion, that question is still open. And so in order to fix that, we do need to make some consensus adjustment to the parachain, on top of which the EVM will be deployed. And that's taking a bit more time. But again, it's these last-minute minutia that, albeit not necessary or integral to running Solidity contracts or the purpose of a virtual machine that's compatible with Ethereum, they do nonetheless provide more finality and less need to either adjust things or learn new systems for users, and also on our end, fewer things to update and maintain and account for, let's say, different accounts, different cryptography sets, as we keep on iterating and improving and then maintaining this EVM parachain. I think that's all. As I mentioned, I'm currently working with some stakeholders to, I think I'll share some small insights in that. We're working on one of the two projects I've been meeting and discussing terms and solutions with. One is in a bit more advanced stage, so I think I can disclose some information. It is an insurance company, or rather an insurance software software provider that creates software for insurance companies. It has real world repercussions, and again, in this time of instability, of course, Bitcoin is going higher, and yes, we appreciate the greater activity and the greater interest for the industry, by which some of our strategic choices are swayed. We still aim to seek value over momentary hype-induced growth. And this project fits exactly that bill. It is getting noisy in the background, so I'm going to cut it short here. I hope I gave a bit more insight about what we're doing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Unfortunately, I won't be able to answer them in this call, but I'll be happy to in chat. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you very much, Herman. That's quite encouraging. I have two questions for you that I will, after the chat, post in the chat scene, as you're not able to continue to speak at the moment, which is firstly, one is a question about Nova Wallet and Cherry, and I'll just have to check now what the other question was. Oh yeah, the other question was with regards to the time frame of developers being able to build, very freely with Cherry, and what kind of other tooling they might wait or be best to wait for, etc. So it's essentially, I've had a lot of questions from some very intelligent and dynamic individual dApp developers who aren't part of a big project or an established chain, who may not have investment, who may not be backed, but nevertheless have some very dynamic and promising use cases for Cherry's tech stack. And they just want to know exactly when things will be really ready for smaller independent developers to be able to build in an unrestrained manner on the Cherry chain. So it's quite an interesting question. I think that there's basically, the question revolves around EVM, but I think there's a couple of small details that I think Herman could explain to us. So I'll get him to post regarding that question in the chat. So I know a lot of people tuning in at the moment. We're hoping for an answer now, but within a couple of hours, I'm sure Herman will have enough time to address that in depth. Herman and or Buer will. So thank you, Herman. I'm going to proceed now with the business update from our side. First of all, as a point of order, I think that basically everyone who was supposed to get prizes, with the exception of the Christmas prizes, which I'm still chasing just one person up about, everyone else has been given prizes from recent AMAs, so that's proceeding fine. And if you haven't, and I've been talking to you in the last few days or a couple of weeks, then I'll probably get around to that in the next 24 hours or so. And then those of you who are still waiting for prize allocation from the Christmas bumper quiz, I explained why there's been a delay with that. It's because people haven't responded yet to claim their prizes yet. So what I'll do is I will be kind of just putting a deadline on that by the end of the week, I would say. So bear with us, and we will sort that out soon. Now, let's move on to some of the interesting things that have been happening on a business development and organizational side for the project. Hang on there 1 second. I'm just going to grab up my notes that were kindly put together by John. 1 second now. Sorry for the delay there. Yeah, so 1 second. As Herman mentioned, we'll have more details about EVM forthcoming soon, but things are proceeding to plan. We have very experienced and seasoned developers who are well used to anticipating the degree of complexity and unexpected complexity that always arise with these intricate and groundbreaking technical efforts. So we are well aware of the fact that, or we're aware of the fact that things crop up that need to be accounted for beforehand in the timetabling, and that means that unlike some other blockchain projects, we tend to see massive delays because there are unforeseen things pop up. We've built that into our schedule for EVM launch, so things are proceeding to plan, to put it shortly. And then I think that Herman will in the coming days clarify some of the expected deployment windows, timetable windows in which EVM will launch. So that's quite encouraging. A lot of people have been asking me about merchandise. You guys have seen the merch. If you search in our Telegram chat, if you're curious there, if you search in our Telegram chat announcements for merch or merchandise, those terms, then you'll see what has been designed. We're just hammering out the details of the Shopify store. So you will be able to buy these items at cost price. We're not doing this to make money. We're doing this because it's cool and we want to look cool and wear cool clothing. And our community feel the same. We put some effort and panache into designing the hoodies, the hats, the t-shirts. They look good. We've had them modeled by our in-house resident model, Marvin, and we'll be launching the store, I think, within a week, I would say, and you'll be able to get your hands on this merchandise. It's actually quite high quality, but it's it's very reasonably priced because, again, there's no markup on it. We're selling it at cost price so that you guys can get your hands on it and rep Cherry for a reasonable amount. A lot of this merchandise will also be handed out as prizes. Also at events. We haven't had an event since last November in Lisbon, so we're looking at what kind of events we might run pretty soon. It's now spring. It's a better time for travel. It's a better time for meetups. So we're looking forward to that. And if you don't grab some of the merch through the shop that we'll be launching soon, then you'll have opportunities to do so in competitions and also in person. So that should be fun. Video content. I've talked about this for a little while actually. I've kind of held off on it because we want to kind of have Cherry in a place where we can absorb extra attention that we think these initiatives will bring. And now that we're in that position, we're going to be releasing video explainers, very high quality. I think all the video content that we've put out so far has been of a very high quality, but this will be really nice as well, probably even better. It'll be launched on a new channel platform kind of thing. A new outlet would be the better term for it. Pretty soon, within a couple of weeks, it'll be something that you can share around. It's just like a 1-minute video that you can share around to your friends and other people in the crypto space and beyond. It'll be a very good way to explain what Cherry does and why Cherry is so cool and why we've managed to get such good backing from institutions and from the wider crypto community and the developer community and what Cherry does that's different. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys because I know you guys are always out there speaking highly of the project. This will be a good tool for you to share with interested parties. It'll also be something that we'll be asking our friends who are thought leaders, influencers, key opinion leaders, and they'll be sharing it out too. So that should be fun. We're kind of working on the details at the moment, so expect it in a couple of weeks. And that kind of leads into the last point, is that we have been, we've been contacting some of the friends of the project, so to speak, who have been very positive and bullish on what Cherry can do, and talking about how we can support them in getting the message out about what Cherry is all about. So I would say within a couple of weeks, a few weeks, you'll start to see more of a groundswell of interesting takes and support for the project out there on social media and beyond. So that should be fun as well. There's a couple other things. We have forthcoming material. We've got a newsletter coming out. I'm going to publish the investor document that we sent out to our investors a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to wait to clarify a couple of points on that. We'll be sending it out as a blog as well. We also have a blog forthcoming about tokenomics because it's something that's very important and it's something that's very interesting to the community. So within the next few days, we'll be blasting out a lot of that stuff. Plenty for you guys to read about and find out about, and it should be quite interesting. So that's more or less what was there for me to address. I think there was a couple of questions that I received in DM over the past few days. Now, I had them written down here somewhere. There was one in particular that was quite interesting. So bear with me, guys. I should have these notes there on my screen. Hang on one sec. Oh yeah, so one of them was, to what extent is Cherry going to capitalize on or push forward the massive interest, the boom in artificial intelligence and related technologies? First of all, I would say that yes, it is quite an exciting tech frontier. Secondly, I would echo what Herman said in that it is becoming somewhat of a bit of a hype bubble in some ways, especially in crypto, because a lot of projects don't really have anything to do with AI. And they claim to be an AI token, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of bandwagon jumping. It's not really going to last. And as you guys know, we're here for the long run. We only invest in and are interested in and work on important and sustainable technological advances that actually bring value and will perform well in the market for years to come, as opposed to the hype-based kind of stuff that Herman mentioned. That being said, with bearing in mind the point that I just made, that a lot of crypto projects that talk about AI don't really have any acumen for AI. They don't have any, what they built or what they can build or what they're capable of doesn't really lend itself well to AI, the frontier of where AI is going. With that in mind, Cherry is actually quite good in this regard because we actually do have things that are relevant to AI. We have a very high performing blockchain. We have a forward thinking team. We have a tech mission which directly relates to some of the challenges in AI around storage, around permissions, around decentralization itself, and how to do that in a business ready manner. So I won't go into any details, but yes, we are working with projects in the AI sector. We are working with some ideas that will be made in-house and also relate to the same. Herman's mentioned a couple, I've mentioned a couple. If you root around, you can see some of the things that we've spoken about that before. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I think in the next couple of weeks I'll probably address this in more detail when we have more that we can show. But certainly, to answer the question in brief, it's something that is overblown by other people in some ways, but Cherry will be making a contribution to the state of the art in this regard. That's mostly what I was going to address for you guys. Thanks for all for tuning in again. Now I'm going to hand you over to Diego first, and Diego's going to give us a brief recap of what's going on with Seedling at the moment. Are you there at the moment, Diego?
Yes. Hello, guys. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Yep. Hello, guys. It's great to be here as always in our Wednesday news update. Thank you, Owen. Today I have three main things I would like to comment. I will go in order, as you can see in the screen. The first thing, and a continuation from our last week partnership with Assure DeFi, is an article that should be uploaded by now or will be uploaded in the next 5 to 10 minutes The article highlights not only the importance and essential added security service that Seedling will provide to all these builders that want to fundraise in our platform, but the huge risks associated with this type of investments. After all, the pre-sale market is, as you all know, a very risky but very rewarding market. And the importance of this kind of security features is not only determinant in the market to keep everyone accountable and therefore off-put uh, builders to perform this kind of unethical practices, but even in the worst case scenario, it should act as a determinant to keep our community protected. Since Assure DeFi will now provide a protocol where every member will be helped as their team is legally formalizing a persecution protocol with all the community's claims. So yeah, an article all about it has been published. So make sure to check it out. I will publish it on the Telegram chat as the AMA finishes. On the second note, we have performed a very extensive competition analysis where our research team have been working on understanding every feature of, I think it was between 18 and 20 launchpads of what we think are, I'd say, the best launchpads regarding both functionality and performance. And we have seen how most of them have actually been quite low actively on the project side of things, which is more than normal. And those that have actually engaged with a lot of projects on a more regular basis have not been providing very interesting projects or results to their communities. So we have also identified some gaps that Seedling could cover, and maybe, well, there's other launchpads that are not offering. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is our recent participation in the Cfolio and Cointelegraph private event, where we are taking part on the investment or VC side of their demo slash investment days. This means that projects that have already gone through their accelerator and that have received investment by top VCs, Cfolio included, and Fembushi, are introduced and given a slot to present to all of us, all the VCs and launchpads. Well, actually, I don't think there is many launchpads, since the focus of launchpads is usually on the public rounds and not later rounds. But getting back to the point here, so projects are given a slot to present their project to the audience and therefore given direct access to the team, which is great news and another way of always being on top of which projects are in the interest of the bigger names in the space. And also, just on a kind note, following Owen's comment on the topic of AI, etc., at Seedling, we are well aware of all the, let's say, cash grabs happening with many projects fundraising just by saying that they are related with AI. When there is not real usage of AI in these kind of projects, we have actually been receiving quite a bit, quite a good amount of projects claiming they're related with AI when they were not related with AI. So we have been, identifying this trend and understanding this trend. And yeah, that was all for today. Thank you guys for the support, and I'll leave you back with Owen.
Thanks, Diego. I had a quick question for you from someone asked to me during a conversation during the week, and they wanted to know, with regards to where Seedling is, at what point, it's a bit of a vague question, but at what point do you think that the launchpad space will, there's been, as we've both mentioned before in the past, the launchpad space has come under a lot of pressure in the recent past. And do you see more launchpads being shaken out of the market from here on in the next few months? Or do you think that it's something that they weather the storm and the ones that are there now will probably stay?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the last couple of months, we have been analyzing the situation and seeing many launchpads having a lot of liquidity problems. They have been spending a lot of resources on marketing and inefficient campaigns that have not been resulting, because after all, the launchpad space is directed by retail and retail interest in projects has been growing in the last, let's say, 30 to 45 days, but still, as the market recovers, and as the market continues laterally, we will continue to see many launch pads that I think will continue to lose their grounds and not be able to continue. At Seedling, happily, we have actually had a very good and very positive liquidity management and kind of treasury management skills, where we have not engaged in very, let's say, less intelligent marketing campaigns, where using resources in the last 3 to 6 months has been pretty not intelligent from a strategic point of view. And therefore, we think, Seedling is ready and has been working and spending the resources mostly on internal procedures and, let's say, ameliorating all these value propositions that we've been offering recently, and adding stuff like Assure DeFi, as I mentioned earlier on. So we're ready to see the market come up again, or play laterally for a couple of months, and then spend some money on marketing and hopefully see some good and positive results from this.
Okay, thank you, Diego. That's a pretty comprehensive answer. We'll move on to Marvin now. Marvin has some updates for us about Cherish, the decentralized social network and content sharing platform that you guys know, will provide a new world of options and possibilities for artists, which will be launching its first launch in the next short period. So Marvin's there to help us with understand some of the things going on with the project at the moment. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Marvin.
As you said, hey Owen, thank you for the introduction. As you said, yes, Cherish will be soon making a splash, and I think we're, if not a splash, to a wave, I'd say. We've been working very hard on the foundation and the basics, which in effect is the most important part of some of these platforms, social media platforms. But it's a lot harder, and there's a lot more roadblocks because we are making this platform decentralized. So to address and showcase and explain our thinking and our methodology, we have released a Cherish update number 8. I think it was earlier this week, yesterday, and that explains and goes into detail a bit about some of the challenges and roadblocks we've faced while developing Cherish, and how devs have handle these issues. So it's a similar piece to what we spoke about last week in last week's AMA, where we did a session a bit longer about Cherish. But if you weren't there or you didn't see yet, be sure to have a look. It should be one of the first announcements when you go to the Cherish announcement page, or maybe John can drop it in. I might drop it in after I'm done speaking. Then we have a creator spotlight article coming soon as well, where we go into detail about some of the artists that we've already onboarded on Cherish, and their art and what they represent. Then we are looking into some ambassador partnerships. We do have a lot of creators already on board with us, and they are ambassadors, but we are looking for high-profile individuals in the social media space with whom our vision and mission align, so we could combine forces and cross-reference our user base or our followers, so we could grow together. People who are really ready to take on a challenge and make something of the social media of the future. Then finally, our onboarding continues at pace with a lot of new creators joining us today as well. We got 2 awesome creators who got really excited for Cherish and what we're doing. So everything's going on pace. I'm still yet to release a date on the limited launch, as we are still tackling some issues but we are getting there surely. So I think that's about it for me today, and I will hand it back over to Owen. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much, Marv. Quite exciting. Could you tell us at the moment, unless I don't think it's sensitive information, roughly how many creators have you guys been able to sign up so far ahead of launch?
Well, there's two sides of this. We talk to a lot of creators. We've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of creators. Might even say thousands at this point. And we've all explained the commitment of Cherish and what Cherish is trying to do. So we're certain that we can get a portion of them. They're either or ambassadors or Cherish insiders. Those are people we have really strong connection to. So and then we have people we've talked to and who are interested, but they're not really committed until the platform is launched. So I say a couple hundred that are interested in the platform when we launch, and then we've got our Cherish insiders as well, who are really who are drooling, as you say, for a chance to get on Cherish as soon as possible. So there's a range, a couple hundred, and then we've talked to thousands already. So, but I can't control every single one of these people independently. So they'll make their choice when the time comes for Cherish.
Fantastic. That's a good sign. I know you and John have worked on it quite hard for the past few months. It's something that shouldn't be understated how valuable that is. You've seen the kind of death of direct online advertisements in the recent past, where more personalized business development is really the way to go, and we've had two hardworking people at that for the last few months, as I said. And whether it's dozens or hundreds or thousands of people signed up or the like at launch, it'll still be a very good platform from which to build before we've actually pushed too much the paid marketing for the platform and before anyone can even use it. So that's a very good sign. So thank you, Marvin. With that, I think we're going to move to the quiz section of the AMA. You guys know how it works. John will suspend the chat. Suspend the chat now, and then he will post the questions that have been devised. And I think within the next couple of days, we will have the prizes for that out to the winners. I'll contact the winners directly, as usual. And anyone else who hasn't been or is still waiting around for prizes, I think there's one or two. I'll get that to you as well in the next couple of days also. So I think we'll leave it there, guys. I think it was a productive AMA. I think you heard exactly what's going on with the project. Next week, we'll probably discuss partnerships in a little bit more depth because there's some things that we want to work on between now and then. And hopefully pretty soon we'll have more of an idea of how and when the next core updates to the Cherry technical stack will be released. Thank you very much for joining in. Herman, as I said, will answer a couple of questions in the chat in the next few hours that have been that we didn't have a chance to pose to him during the call. So tune in to the chat for that as well, and I'll leave you with the quiz. Thank you all for joining, and see you soon.